The objects that we were seeing, they were spherical, and they were observed up to Mach 2, which is a very non-aerodynamic shape.
It actually had two little objects that came out of the bottom of it. But other than that, no windows, no seams, no nothing.
It's not just military pilots who are seeing UAPs in the skies. For decades, civilians on the ground have reported sightings from coast to coast. And like pilots, citizens have often faced stigma and ridicule when they tried to report what they saw. One of the most infamous mass sightings happened in the Berkshires back in 1969, when thousands of people reported seeing strange objects in the sky or sometimes just hovering directly overhead. The event was featured on the Netflix reboot of the docuseries Unsolved Mysteries.
The craft itself, I would say that it had to be at least 100 yards long. And we're staring at this thing out the window, and all of a sudden the car just lit up inside, like the floodlights inside our car. I could see the dashboard, I could see the back of my grandmother's hair, I could see the radio. I remember this like it was yesterday. I could see my mother. Everything in the car was just like it was daylight.
The man in that episode is Thom Reed, and he joins me live. Tom, we spoke on Monday ahead of the hearing. Yes. What's your reaction now that you've heard the testimony today?
You know, I can't remember the last time that I could say I was actually proud of my congressman. Tim Burchett was fantastic. I think Congress seemed to have this renewed vigor. And it was just reassuring to see them take this topic so seriously, collectively seriously.
They did, and they all did, you're right, in a very bipartisan way. David Grush said under oath at the hearing that not only were these sightings common, but they feel people can't speak out. Let's listen to his part of that testimony.
These sightings are not rare or isolated, they are routine. Military aircrew and commercial pilots, trained observers whose lives depend on accurate identification, are frequently witnessing these phenomena. The stigma attached to UAP is real and powerful and challenges national security. It silences commercial pilots who fear professional repercussions, discourages witnesses.
That was actually pilot Ryan Graves who was testifying about that, about pilot stigma. You actually say your entire town was divided over the mass sighting in 1969 between those who saw and believed and those who didn't.
Yeah, it was a tough go for a while, but so many saw it that I think that everyone kind of knew a grandmother or a child or a friend who had seen something. So it was tough, but you're right. There really is nowhere to go to get answers or a call you can make or a group that you can really go to say, look, I saw this. What do I do? And you have some answers for me. So you're kind of left hanging, you know, on your own.
You also say that you and your family, you didn't just see something, you were physically impacted by whatever you saw in the sky. I want to play another part of the hearing where there's testimony discussing this kind of phenomena.
Okay.
Does the United States believe that there may be life outside of Earth?
I don't have a position on that one way or the other to speak to today. What we believe is that there are unexplained aerial phenomena that have been cited and reported by pilots, Navy and Air Force, that these phenomena have, in some cases, had an impact on our training ranges.
All right, that was not the right soundbite. That was John Kirby, who was also talking about the impact that sometimes these sightings have. At the hearing, there was discussion about the fact that some pilots felt physically reacted, and you had the same experience. Describe it for me.
Oh yeah, we came within contact. There were three objects. We were in the middle of almost like a diamond type of thing, and or a pyramid, and it was almost as if there was a communication going on between the spheres themselves and probably the craft, maybe even that was in front of our vehicle. But when we got to the middle of these three objects, it felt like we were deep underwater, like someone just took us and shoved us at the bottom of a swimming pool, where these sounds just echoed, like when you tap on a side of a pool. That's kind of why I mentioned a pool, where it just kind of seemed extremely loud, where everything else was muted. And then there was this flash of light, and then, you know, the crickets and the Acadians erupted and then went completely silent, like someone just flipped a switch off on life itself. It was that extreme. And then we came back to feeling ourselves again. And it all happened within, you know, a moment's time to some degree.
But to all of you collectively,
Yes.
Thanks so much for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.